Okay, let's get right into it. You hear it everywhere, right? Every company wants to be data-driven. It's one of the biggest buzzwords out there. But you know what? Actually making it happen is a massive undertaking. It's not just some project you knock out in a quarter. It's a real transformation, a journey. So that's what we're going to do here. We're going to map out that entire journey.
And really, the whole idea is built on this absolute gem from the management legend Peter Drucker. It's so simple but so powerful. If you're not measuring what you're doing with actual hard data, you're basically flying blind. How can you improve? How can you manage? You just can't.
So, why go through all the trouble? What's the payoff? Well, it's a number that'll make you sit up a little straighter. Studies from top firms show that organizations that are truly data-driven aren't just a tiny bit better off. They are a full 6% more profitable than their competition. I mean, in today's world, a 6% edge is absolutely huge. That goes straight to the bottom line.
That 6% is a pretty great reason to get started, right? But it leads us to the real question, the one we're here to tackle. What does it actually take to get there? Because let me tell you, it is so much more than just buying some fancy new software. It's a fundamental shift in your strategy, your tech, and most importantly, your culture. So, before we pull out the map and start plotting our route, let's take a second to look at the destination. What does it actually look and feel like when you get there? What are the real rewards waiting for you at the end of this journey?
The benefits go way, way beyond just that one profit number. We're talking about making your biggest decisions based on facts and evidence, not just gut feelings. It means making your business way more efficient, cutting out waste, and boosting productivity. You can finally measure what's working and what's not, get ahead of risks before they blow up, and ultimately just build this incredible competitive advantage.
All right, so we know where we're going, and it looks pretty good. Now let's look at the map itself. The good news is you don't have to invent this from scratch. There are proven frameworks out there that can guide you through this whole thing.
And this diagram here from Harvard Business Review, it is fantastic. It just boils down a super complex process into something really clear. Let's trace the path. See, it all starts with people. You capture what they do as data. You analyze that data to find insights. Those insights drive you to take action, which gets you real, measurable results. And here, this is the magic part. Those results feed right back into your understanding of the data, creating this powerful loop of constant improvement. It just keeps getting smarter.
Now, let's break that down into an even more practical roadmap. You can really think of this as an 8-step journey. First, you've got the foundational stuff, right? You have to build your team and figure out your strategy. Then you get into the technical nuts and bolts, designing the architecture, buying the right infrastructure, getting the tools. And then you get to what is honestly the hardest part, the people. This is where you have to build a culture that values data, set up the rules of the road with governance, and make sure everyone, and I mean everyone, can speak the language of data.
Okay, so that's the perfect roadmap. That's the dream. But where are most companies actually starting from? Let's look at a real-world assessment to see the typical gaps between that ambition and the reality on the ground.
So the first big goal on our map is simple enough, right? You need a clear vision, a solid plan, and a dedicated team to make it happen. You'd think this is square one.
But here's the reality check from that assessment. Even though leadership really wanted to be data-driven, the actual strategy was, and I'm quoting here, in its infancy. There just wasn't a formal plan. And this is so common. Great intentions, but no concrete blueprint to follow.
Okay, so goal number 2 is getting the tech right. You got to have systems that talk to each other and processes that are automated so you can actually gather and analyze data without it being a huge pain.
And oh man, this quote from the assessment just says it all. It found that data collection was, quote, mostly completed manually. Can you just picture it? People spending hours and hours copying and pasting stuff into spreadsheets. It's a total bottleneck that grinds everything to a halt.
And finally, we get to the big one, the ultimate goal. Creating a culture where everyone trusts data, understands it, and actually uses it every day. And that means you need strong governance and clear rules.
And this is almost always the trickiest part, even with support from the top. The assessment found that data governance wasn't this big, unified effort. Instead, it was happening in little pockets, in silos. Different departments were all doing their own thing, which just leads to chaos, inconsistency, and zero trust in the data.
You know, seeing these gaps between the goal and the reality is so important. It's not about pointing fingers, it's about learning. It lets us pinpoint the most critical first moves that any organization needs to make if they're serious about this transformation.
So after seeing all that, where on earth do you begin?
It really boils down to 3 absolute must-dos. First, you have to establish data governance for the whole organization. Get everyone on the same page. Make sure your data is secure, usable, and trustworthy from day one. Second, you have to actively build the culture. That means training, recognizing people who use data well, and holding everyone accountable. And third, be smart about what you digitize first. Don't try to boil the ocean. Focus on the most important stuff, your core workflows, your customers, your employees.
And that really brings us to the final thought here. Look, every single organization on the planet is collecting data these days. That's the easy part. The hard part, the thing that separates the winners from everyone else, is having a real, deliberate plan to turn all that data into a game-changing asset. So the question I'll leave you with is a simple one. Your organization has data, sure, but does it have a plan?